Alright, so Underground Geek here, first of all, just so everybody knows who's talking. So they got a bunch of things to talk about this morning. You know, I don't like to do several different videos on something. I like to do one good video where I talk about a couple different subjects and see what you guys think. Now, if you'd rather me do just one video on a topic, I can, but it'd be a lot shorter just because I'm not really one of those type of guys that just complains. I usually say something, I support it by some kind of facts, and then that's the end of the discussion. You know what I mean? So a couple different things we got to talk about here. First of all, the whole Mags, Visaggio, or whatever the heck her name is, talking about how she supports Antifa. Okay, that is a very bad judgment call by her, just career-wise, because she's going to figure out real soon that DC is not Marvel, and they don't put up with that kind of crap. Okay, they want you to be intelligent. They want you to make intelligent decisions for the job. They don't want you to go out there and throw something that's going to be controversial just because you think that it's going to make you look good. They've already told her before about this. Now, when she got that job, the new job through DC, the talent, whatever it is, they immediately told her to go apologize on Twitter. And the reason I know that is, within about an hour of her announcing her job, she went over and apologized to Twitter for her little rants about beating somebody in the head with a baseball bat. For being a straight white male. You're a male! But, anyway, so yeah, she went on there and apologized about it. So now she is on it again. I guess she just thinks that, you know, that's her way of fight the power, you know, kind of type thing. That was my Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann reference for a minute. Row, fight the power. Hit me down in the comments if you're a Gurren Lagann fan. This is my top 5 anime of all time. But anyway, she puts on there, go support your local Antifa. Are you crazy? That's a terrorist group. They're literally Hitler. My mentions, literally Hitler. But they are. They're literally Hitler. The thing is, that's a violent group, and everywhere they go, they bring weapons, and they cover their faces. That is the essence of a mob. Okay? They are like a group of people that have failed at everything except for getting in a group and beating an old man with a baseball bat. That is their accomplishments for their life. And now you're going to go around and say support them? That's virtue signaling 101. That's let me get out there with my group and let everybody know that I'm woke. I'm woke AF. You know what I mean? Just like Kwanzaa and his black AF. But it's stupid, you know. I give it, there's a time ticking on this clock. She did it on the weekend, or she did it close to the weekend because she thought nobody would see it. What's going to happen is it's going to come out this week, and DC's going to see it, and she's going to have to either delete it quietly, or she's going to have to, I'm sorry, there was this lady running across the road with her dog, and the dog was literally dragging her across the road behind me. It looked like, I thought she was running from something that was trying to kill her. But anyway, they're going to see it, and they're going to tell her to apologize. Or they're going to tell her to delete it or write some kind of retort on there. That's what's going to happen. But anyway, so moving on with that whole thing, it's about the dumbest thing I've ever seen. You know, just stay away from that, Mags. Just stay away from that. But anyway, now moving on to another thing. I've talked about this in the past. I have a video on it, but there's this group, Drunk Comet Podcast or something like that, and they spell drunk wrong on purpose because they think that's going to help them. That's probably the reason you don't have any followers on there, is because you don't spell it correctly, and they try to find you and they can't. But anyway, these people are, you know how you have the people that are the salt of the earth? Well, these people are the scum of the earth. They literally don't know anything about comics, and the reason I say that is because I've asked them many times to state things about comics, and they can't do it. They literally can't. Or they, I guess, yeah, you'd say literally do it. But anyway, I mean, you get on there and ask them simple. I knew when I asked them a simple question, and they answered it with something about nipples, that these are not the kind of people you want to talk to about anything. If they had got on there and answered my question, I would have just left them alone. I'd have been like, okay, so obviously they know what they're talking about. All right, they're on the level. Moving on to the next thing. But when you get on there and act like a child, I'm going to show everyone that you act like a child, so that you can be you can be in essence shown for what you are in the light, and other people will see it, and maybe they won't fall into the trap of following you because you're full of it. I mean, these are the kind of people that sat, at high school, you had that little concrete table outside, and you had the weirdos that sat out there. These are the kind of people that I'm talking about. They've grown up, and instead of sitting at a concrete table, now they're sitting at a microphone they went and bought at Best Buy and created their own quote-unquote podcast to talk about stupid stuff. I'm sorry, you're not G4, okay? You're not Olivia Munn. I'm sorry. You're going to go out there and you're going to make an idiot of yourself, and then this is going to go on for like 10 years, and then slowly but surely all you people are just going to kind of silently leave the group eventually. Maybe you'll get some common sense, and somebody's going to wake you up one day and they're going to go, it's time to stop, as Captain Cummins says. It's really dumb how these people they don't have anything else better to do than to do this kind of stuff here. And then when somebody calls them out on it, they're following me, and they're screenshotting me, and they're doing stuff. Okay, these people, let me tell you this. These people got on there, and then whenever I called them out, they started trying to get a hold of Gail Simone and I think Heather Antos or something like that, trying to tag them in a conversation to see if they would reply, and they never would. They're trying to get back up from the quote-unquote comment pros, and it's not happening. And then I think they tried to get one of their buddies to get on there, and eventually, like 2 hours later, because this went on for 8 hours, he shows up and immediately starts cursing up a storm, putting vulgarities and everything, because that helps you win an argument when you just start cussing somebody for no reason. My thing is, if you've got a comic podcast, there's a chance that kids are going to get on there and listen to that. Younger people, maybe not kids, but maybe about 13 or 14, and they're going to listen to you, and they're going to think that that's the way to be, and then they're going to go get a job at GameStop and be losers for the rest of their life. Okay, these are the kind of people that really need to be shown for what they are, and that is a loser. Okay, but that's why I choose not to really get involved with them unless they're just blatantly calling out somebody about something. Like they were talking this morning about, I was tagged in a conversation when we were talking about all these people calling for Heather Antos to be fired, but yet don't want to be fired for their right-wing beliefs. And they're like, with the emoji, the thinking emoji. First of all, you can't be fired for your political beliefs because that would be illegal. Now, you can be fired for writing, I want to beat somebody in the head with a baseball bat for being a white single male. That should be a fireable offense, Mags. But you can't be fired for that kind of stuff. So sad. Sorry. Second of all, calling for somebody to be fired on that kind of discussion is the lowest of the low, and you should be fired from your job for trying to get somebody else fired like that. Like, an employer should see that and say, look, you either need to delete that or I'm going to fire you. Anyway, so that's pretty much all I had to say about that. It's funny that you have to be right wing because you're not left wing. If you're not alt left, then you're right wing. Now, I put in the comments, I thought it was funny that they didn't call anybody alt right, and somebody said it's because people get called alt left and they're trying to get away from it, and I do think that's probably what it is. And they call Trump a white nationalist, which he couldn't be further from that. If you know what a nationalist is, he's not a nationalist. I would rather him be a nationalist just because he would be more for America, but he's pretty much a globalist. Okay, he's a globalist, and he's just enough of a globalist to where it doesn't become that much of a headache. But he is not one of those people where he's like what they're saying. They're pretty much saying racist. You know, he's not one of those. Sorry. The guy grew up and did business in cities with lots of minorities. You know, that's just not right. Get over yourself. But anyway, that's all I had to say about that. Those kind of people, I wouldn't really pay that much attention to. Every now and then you might see them say something funny and you can, you know, make fun of it and move on. But those kind of people, they just don't deserve a whole lot of your time because they don't say anything of merit. They don't talk about comic books. All they do is talk about their politics. It's an excuse to get on and talk about their politics. Just like I said this before, if you're going to do something business-wise, if you're trying to get people's attention to get likes and subs on YouTube and things like that, and you're trying to up your business and get more followers, don't say stupid stuff, okay? Get on there, say, I mean, it's like some of these people, these fake people get on there and tweet about, you know, oh, I just love this comic, blah, blah, and they never read it. That's better than getting on there and saying, I want to beat somebody in the head with a baseball bat, or everybody's right wing that I don't like. You know, get on there and say, hey, we got a new podcast coming out today. You know, we're going to talk about Dr. Doom. You know, get on there and watch it. It's 3 o'clock. Say stuff like that. Okay, that's better for your business. Anyway, moving on. The whole Diversity in Comics has a new video out where he's talking about the comic book stores that got that had to close their doors, you know, because they're not doing any business. I don't know if I'm mistaken or if he's mistaken when we're talking about this, but he said, you know, if somebody overstocks in comic books and they don't sell them, then, you know, they're just screwed. You know, they had to sell them. I was actually told by my comic book store that if they take the comics that they don't sell in a certain timeline and they rip the covers off of them, they can send them back for a refund. Now, that's what they told me. And if they've told me that, then obviously that's working. You know, they're doing that. So at least they have that kind of outlet. Now, if you order 30 of the comics and they don't sell, I guess maybe you can only send back so many. I don't know. Maybe it costs you to send them back, and that's where it becomes a problem. But that's what they told me. So maybe they're mistaken, but I wouldn't think they would be if they told me that, because obviously they've tried to do it. Maybe he's never heard of that, but that's what they told me. And they do that a lot with Marvel Comics. They rip the covers off and send them back. I guess it has something to do with them it has to be counted as damaged, then they can do that. But anyway. But he was talking about how they have to watch what they're ordering, and it's very true, because even Books A Million in my town has stopped ordering some comics. Like, I've noticed that it started to dwindle. They've only ordered so many. Now, they'll order more than my local comic book store, but they're only ordering so many titles right now. I don't see any Iceman. I don't see any what's another one? I don't see hardly any Miss Marvel. I saw a couple of Gwenpool, which I was kind of surprised. I got the new issue of Gwenpool, and I'll review that later. That whole thing got started because Heather Antos is now on my radar, and I'm reading all her comics. And if they're good, they're good. If they're bad, I'm going to tell you they're bad. Okay? I'm giving it fair treatment because that's what she deserves. But anyway, on the comic story, the other day I walked in the store, and I've noticed for the last since I've been going to that comic store, I've noticed that they only order certain titles, and it kind of gets on my nerves because I got a lot of views from my last Titans review, and I told them, you know, get me the Titans and Teen Titans, okay? Because I want to do reviews on them, and I've got to have the issue to do it, okay? And they said, yeah. Well, I've told them that 4 or 5 times about different titles, and they never get them, so I'm not really counting on them doing it. They'll probably tell me yeah, and then they don't ever order it because their order doesn't listen to anybody. First of all, I don't think he's hardly ordered any Venoms, and that's one of the only good stories. He doesn't even order Cable, and Cable's a very good story by Marvel right now. But anyway, I told him, I said, order Titans, Teen Titans, and a couple other issues, you know, of different things that I read. Marvel side, they need to order some of the bad issues, at least 2 or 3 of them, but they can't because they're so hurting for money. Like, they do magic cards more than anything. They have tournaments and all that kind of stuff because they're not selling off the comic books. And I know that you have different kinds of revenue. You have to be able to do different things. But that's one of the reasons they're pushing it so hard is because they're having to stop ordering the comics. Let me tell you this. They haven't ordered even one of the Marvel Generations. Not one. There's been like 4 stories out so far, and they haven't ordered any of them from the Marvel Legacy. They haven't. You know why? They told me, quote unquote, to my face, they said, because it sucks. Is that not funny? Like, they didn't order any of them because it sucks. And the fact that they will tell you that to your face and not just say, hey, well, we're going to order it anyway, you know, and try to sell it because that's what sells. No, they didn't even order any of it. And that tells you the mindset these people have now. They're trying to make money and they can't because Marvel is making such sucky stories. The DC has the New World Order story that's come out. It's in its first issue, and I've read one tie-in and one first issue, and it's already better than Secret Empire. It's already better. DC is beating Marvel into the ground and taking their lunch money at this point. Marvel needs to get with it. They need to hire some good editors, some good story writers, and they need to go back to basics and write good stories with all of these villains that they have and all these heroes that they have, and actually do what they need to do and stop talking about their politics. They're hurting these comic book stores because Marvel gets more attention than DC. Marvel sells more than DC because of Spider-Man and the X-Men and people like that. And they can't sell them if you don't have them. Nobody wants Dan Slott's Spider-Man. I know this because they stopped ordering them at my comic book store. Nobody wants fake Iron Man because they stopped ordering it. Nobody wants Totally Awesome Hulk because they stopped ordering it. Nobody wants Iceman because they stopped ordering it. I mean, look at all these titles that they've stopped ordering, and I can't even get to roast because they can't afford to get them. It's ridiculous. But anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say. I had to rant a little bit about it and tell you what I thought. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit the like, hit the notifications button, and have a great day, guys.